now, NBC5 investigates the deadliest air accident in decades. The NTSB hearings on January's fatal midair collision in Washington, D.C. are continuing today. You'll remember 67 people died in the crash between an American Airlines passenger jet and an Army helicopter.
NBC Chicago investigative reporter Chuck Goudie has been monitoring the NTSB hearing and joins us in studio now with details on the search for answers and efforts to prevent a similar accident in the future. Chuck?
Mary, Allison, the focus today, troubles in the air, how air traffic control staffing decisions by the Federal Aviation Administration and regulations for Washington airspace may have contributed to last January's mid-air collision. The NTSB now zeroing in on why a passenger jet and a military helicopter collided over the Potomac River near Washington Reagan National Airport. One air traffic controller who testified here at today's NTSB hearing telling the panel about an unofficial workaround called the squeeze play. That tactic here at Washington, D.C.'s cramped airspace is a trick used by controllers in order to squeeze in all the planes and helicopters that fly through this congested zone. Whether controllers were attempting such a squeeze play here on the night of January 29th is among the questions that authorities are now trying to answer, 6 months after an Army Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines regional jet collided over the Potomac near D.C.'s Reagan Airport. We do know that before the crash, visual separation of aircraft was underway, a common procedure at Washington Reagan in which pilots rely on their own eyesight and judgment to steer clear of other aircraft in the flight zone. The testimony today that as the air corridor has become more congested, safety concerns have increased as well.
We are always going to do the extra mile. If we see a conflict, even if we are applying visual separation, we will still provide additional traffic information and make sure that that pilot understands that they still have that responsibility.
It's still remarkably hard to identify aircraft when you are flying, whether it's the background or a whole host of reasons. It can be very challenging, I think, as every pilot would say.
Since the January collision, federal aviation officials have put restrictions on the use of visual separation, relying more on the control tower and radar to separate planes, and that's a good thing.
And Chuck, we have to ask, has that helped to make things safer?
Well, you might be surprised. There was a stunning piece of testimony today from an aviation company official about exactly that, what happened in January. Listen to this.
The airspace system since 1986, the helicopter routes, were very successful. Obviously, that success ended quite tragically on January 29. To answer your question, today the airspace is the least safe it's ever been, thanks to the changes that have been implemented after January 29.
The third day of the hearing scheduled for tomorrow. It will take months for a final report, but the gist of the Q&A thus far paints a picture of overcrowded airspace, outdated equipment and procedures, and an understaffed control tower. But the answer to that question stunned a lot of people.
It was shocking to hear that. But hopefully this will lead to changes that will make that airport safer finally.
Certainly the end goal there and across the country, really.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay.
Thank you, Chuck.